Well, hey, I'm Shanae, and this is Go On, Grow On. In the past few weeks, I've been working on a series called Everything I Need to Know About Life I Learned from Plants. This episode will be a little bit different than the last few because I have had some things on my mind that have actually prevented me from making a video for the past month. I wanted to address them. So, first of all, let's get this little stain out the way, okay? If this little stain was not distracting you from my shirt, you would be able to see. Well, that's actually cornstarch to get this grease spot on my shirt. Don't pay attention to that though. This shirt I had made because I was just feeling some kind of way. I don't know how to explain to you that you should care about other people. So, needless to say, moving on from that. Don't pay attention to the stain. But that was what was keeping me from making videos for weeks. I was just really heavy hearted about a lot of the stuff that's been going on in this country and in the world, and mainly Breonna Taylor. The fact that her murderers are still just out has weighed really, really heavily on me as a black woman. Um, it just feels like the most unloving uh, place for women that look like me right now. The fact that anyone could go into someone else's home and shoot them multiple times, take their life, and then just go on with theirs is just heartening. It's super hurtful, um, and it's been weighing very heavily on me. Like, I don't know how that happens, but apparently it does. And my suggestion would be that we not just write to the governor or the judge in Kentucky, but we write to all the governors in each state. Say, hold your counterpart accountable. He is a representation of the way that you all work, because this is a country, this is a nation, one nation, supposedly. So we're only as strong as our weakest link. And right now, that's the governor, the judge, the police force in Kentucky. That's the weak link. We can only be as strong as our weakest link, and we need to be holding everyone accountable for their actions, not just the one person. But if you're a representative for your state and in government, you should be appalled by the behavior enough to say something as well. So I would say write your governors, not just in Kentucky, but all states. Even if they're not the governor of your state, write a letter making your petition known that I hold you accountable too, because this person works in the same field as you. This person is not doing their job in their state, and they are giving you guys a bad reputation. Because how can I expect different in my state? Just because we haven't had this same occurrence, how do I know where you stand if you've not made any statement about it? If you've not checked your brother, your person that is on the same level as you, your coworker, you've not checked that person on their behavior. You've not held them accountable. What does that look like? Where do you stand on accountability? That's all I'm going to say about that. I've been wanting to say something for a minute, so I'm glad to get it off my chest and off my heart and to move forward. Um, Today's lesson for Go On, Grow On is one that I learned personally here recently. So I have a garden. It's not a huge garden. It's a garden box in my backyard. And this year I planted cabbage. I was like, oh yeah, we'll eat cabbage, like cabbage. So it was growing great. It was flourishing. It was thriving. And sidebar, I love butterflies. Like, love them. I think they're most amazing creatures. And one day I'll tell you a story about that, why I'm so like infatuated with butterflies. But the little white ones that fly around, they look like butterflies, but they're not actually butterflies or some kind of moth. Anyway, I did not know that they love cabbage. Like they like to lay their eggs on cabbage and like use the cabbage to feed their little caterpillars. So imagine my disappointment when I went out. It was fine. I saw her fluttering around. I kind of knew what that meant. But when I flipped the leaves over, there were so many eggs and caterpillars. And I was just like, yeah, this is not going to work for me. They're going to devour this cabbage. And I don't want all of these little caterpillars in my garden. So I pulled up the cabbage and I like threw it in the woods because I didn't want, to kill the little caterpillars. I wanted them to enjoy their meal. I wasn't going to eat it, so I needed it out of my garden. And so instead, I was like, well, I really love when the swallowtails come and they eat the dill, so I'll plant some dill seeds because I'm not going to use the dill. It would specifically just be for the butterflies, for their babies. So I was like, I could do that. I will get to see the butterflies come, and that'll be amazing. And so I planted the seeds, and after about a week or so, they started sprouting. And I was like, wow, that was really fast. That's great. And I was trying to nurture them. So I was like, oh, let me put a little water on them. And they weren't ready for the water. Or at least I didn't know that they weren't ready, but I put the water on and they kind of fluttered to the top a little bit. And I was like, oh, once the dirt settles, they'll regroup and they'll be fine. Well, the next day was really hot. And they were not fine. They burned up because their roots were not deep enough. Like they couldn't survive the amount of water that I put on them because their roots weren't deep enough. And they couldn't survive the sunlight because even though the soil was moist, their roots were not deep enough so that they could protect themselves with the moisture that they needed to survive the heat of the day. And that's my fault. That's my doing as the gardener. I did not plant them deep enough. If your seed is planted in shallow ground, it won't be able to thrive because when the rain comes, it won't be deep enough. When the sun comes out in the heat of the day, the roots won't be deep enough to not get scorched. They won't be able to weather when the wind blows. So I said all that to say that's inner work. Like that's the work you have to do from inside yourself. Dig deep enough. Like a lot of times we're so ready to be showy and to show off our successes and to show off our accolades and our accomplishments and to prove to the world that we are worthy, that we have not taken the time to dig deep enough and plant the seeds of worth within ourselves. We have not planted the inner workings of deep unconditional love within ourselves, but yet we will be looking for the world to love us for all of our petals and our leaves and our lovely branches and all of the things that we have to show above ground that we will never get to if we don't have deep enough roots. You gotta dig deeper. Plant some great things deep, deep inside yourself. Plant self-love and self-worth and caring and loving yourself beyond your condition. That's what unconditional love is. It's loving yourself not without any conditions, but beyond your condition. Meaning whatever state you are in right now, you are still unequivocally, without question, worthy and deserving of love. Believing that for yourself before you put it out there that you want to be loved or try to prove to somebody how valuable and worthy you are of love. Believing that really deep down inside yourself, that you are not just worthy of love because somebody else decides to love you or because somebody else tells you you're lovable or kind or sweet or joyful or any of the other adjectives that people can use to describe you, but because it is divine order that you are here. Your existence is proof of love. If you believe in God, if you believe in evolution, if you believe in the universe, whatever it was, felt you were necessary. And everything is worthy of love. Every person. Everyone is. Black, white. I don't even like to use colors. Wherever you come from, whoever you are, whatever your condition at present, there is always room for growth and development and becoming more of your authentic self and being loving and kind to yourself. There is always space for that. There is room for that, no matter what you look like, no matter what your circumstance looks like, no matter what people think you look like. In here, once you know who you are, no one can take it from you. No one can make you feel less than or undeserving or unworthy, because you will know that deeply rooted in yourself. That's the strength of a foundation that you can create for yourself. One of the most amazing things that I've seen plants do is heal themselves. You notice how you'll cut off a piece from a plant or a leaf will break off and it immediately seals it right up. Just like you would if you had a scab from a scar or a wound, your body would immediately create a scab. It would begin to heal itself. I have a rubber tree and it had a tear that I didn't even know it had, but I looked at the leaf and it looked like it gave itself stitches. It healed itself. And we have that same power and capacity within ourselves, not just like organism-wise or biologically to like physically heal yourself, but when you get underneath all the stuff that people have put on top of you, all the agreements, the ideas, the social constructs, when you get beneath that stuff to the core of who you really are, when you start to question everything that somebody told you, anybody told you, regardless of who they are, you can still hold high regard for people and not believe what they believe. And you can still question it because no man is God. You can even question God. I know. The old folks said, don't question God. But you can. If you're a Bible reader, people question him all the time. Now, you may not like the answer you get, but you can ask questions. So question everything, everyone, every belief, every idea, every attachment, every level of connectivity that you have been built on, because some of it may not belong to you. There may be some things that you ascribe to, and there are other things that you just don't. And that's perfectly okay, because we are not meant to be all the same. The world needed a unique you. So much so that of 100 million little swimmers, you're the one that made it to the egg. Understand your uniqueness, your value, and the necessity of your being. You are here because the world needs you to be here as you. So, dig deep. Plant the seeds really deep. Give them a chance to spread some good roots and set some good foundation. And then, a tree grows both up and down. So please understand that once you come up here, it'll take off. The leaves will come. The blooms will come. You will produce. But there is a patience that comes with the planting inside yourself that you just have to learn to trust. And learn to trust yourself as you teach yourself and unlearn things. Unlearn first, then learn something new. You'll grow and you'll develop and you'll change and you'll flourish into a new, beautiful you. Maybe not new. Maybe the you you've always been, but never knew about. That's my hope for you. So, Till the next episode, go on, grow on. I believe in you.